As we talked about yesterday, the Treasury Department letting certain exemptions to blocks on Russian oil sales expire. By allowing the exemptions to expire, it effectively acts as a new sanction on Russian oil sales. This is what Reuters is saying basically right now. Also happening at the same time, Treasury and the State Department hitting the shipping of Iranian oil. It's new sanctions on the so-called shadow fleet of ships that sell oil from Iran. A source telling me last night that because Iran sells most of its oil, if not all, to China, this move actually a strike against both Iran and China. It all comes at the same time that President Trump is threatening Iran with the chance of military action if nuclear talks break down. It's all very complicated. Bottom line, it could end up having an impact on the global oil markets, which are down 8 weeks in a row. Let's try to make sense of it all with Daniel Tannenbaum. He is a partner at Oliver Wyman, and Helima Croft of RBC Capital Markets and a CNBC contributor. Helima, I'm going to start with you. Listen, this is you and I were going back and forth yesterday. This is a confusing situation. How do you read it?
So, and thank you for having me on with the preeminent sanctions expert, Daniel Tannenbaum. But I think this is a very important story that the market is largely ignoring. I think the market believes that President Trump is so committed to getting a deal on Russia-Ukraine that we should be talking about more Russian molecules coming back onto the market imminently. And they've also, I think, discounted the risk of serious sanctions enforcement when it comes to Iran. Yes, they've talked about bringing back maximum pressure, but people look at Iranian oil exports and say, oil exports remain robust from Iran. Is this going to be meaningful? But I think you're right to also point out that President Trump's letter that was delivered to the Iranian foreign minister via UAE said, look, you can have a deal or you can have a military strike. Take your choice. And the Iranian supreme leader was basically saying no, thank you to that letter.
Daniel, a very good source to me last night on the phone said that these may be increased sanctions on Russia if there is somebody in Treasury or the State Department or the White House that is willing and able to enforce them. And my source, and I think you've said the same thing, we're not clear that person or persons exists.
That's right. And let's remember, we have to give the Trump administration credit for upping the pressure, but that was actually by not doing something, by not extending a waiver that President Biden expended again early January this year. And there's certainly questions around why the administration did this. We haven't actually heard from the administration directly yet on what this means into the broader strategy.
It's possible that they forgot about it and that it just expired, and now it looks like they're doing something by letting it expire. My source last night did not think that was the case, but we don't know.
No, but it certainly will make it more complicated for those that continue to buy Russian oil to actually finance those transactions, because it closes off the mechanisms to process any transactions in dollars related to that Russian oil.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure, you know what's amazing to me? The oil price is not that high right now. Gasoline prices are not that high right now, and consumer sentiment is horrendous. So all I'm trying to figure out is all of this going to add up? Our guest yesterday suggested that the oil price might have more upside to it than people think, and I just wonder how you think this all shakes out.
I mean, I would certainly be surprised if part of the calculus of the administration not talking about this was to limit any sort of impact on energy prices, because certainly talking about withdrawing more barrels that are able to be bought legally on the right side of sanctions, I mean, this takes the opposite effect and could certainly spook markets.
Yeah, that's a great point. We know the big energy spike a couple years ago. Helima, same question. What do you think?
No, I think absolutely. I think the question's going to be, what is enforcement? Because we have a number of sanctions on Iran that just have not been enforced. And so the question is, does the Trump administration, which has talked about wanting lower oil prices, thrown out the $50 oil price, are they really looking to squeeze Iran and Russia by really enforcing these sanctions? But if they were to enforce them, that would be material, I think, for the market. And I think the other question, Kelly, is, again, the deal or no deal scenario for Iran. What is going to happen in terms of this nuclear standoff with Iran? Are we going to get a deal? Is Iran going to get a bomb, or is it going to get bombed? I think those are scenarios we need to start thinking about in the next couple of months.